Polyglot, more like poly-not, am I right? Noah? Today on Craft versus Cruft, I'm Ray Myers, and today I'd like to talk about a concept I have a love-hate relationship with, which is that of the polyglot. Now, I suppose you could say I am a polyglot, also known as a language geek. At varying times, I've been proficient in Pascal, Java, C++, Haskell, C#, Ruby, Python, Perl, Common Lisp, JavaScript, probably a few others I'm forgetting. And a number of these I've used for multiple years professionally. So in any sense of the term, I'd be considered a polyglot. And in terms of your personal development, I strongly encourage this approach. You do, at some point, want to specialize and be able to build more and more useful things. But as temporary diversions, and maybe much more than temporary, it's a good idea to especially get a coverage of the types of languages that are out there. I don't suppose if you already know Java, learning C# is going to expand your outlook on programming a whole lot. They're very similar. But if you don't know, for example, a Lisp dialect or an ML dialect, such as Haskell's kind of related, or OCaml. If you only have used statically typed languages, try playing around with a dynamically typed one for a while, for example. If you've only used statically typed languages where everything is declared, try one with type inference. You'll learn what's out there, and you're going to be able to become more adaptable, learn other new concepts more quickly when you understand the space of what's already been explored in the field, and also transform your thinking. I think using Lisp and Haskell has actually impacted the way I write Java and Python rather a lot. Well, so far this sounds great, Ray. What's your big problem? Well, I'll tell you. There's another way in which the term polyglot is used, the notion of the polyglot shop, the polyglot team. And this, for me, while there probably are some good applications of it, I consider it a red flag. If I'm talking to a team and they say, we're polyglots, we use quote-unquote the right tool for the job. In practice, it means something like, Bob wrote this, so it's in Java. Emily got to that one first, so it's in Erlang. Someone who doesn't work here anymore wrote this in Lisp for no apparent reason, no real strategy. This is really just a lack of team cohesion in a coding standard. Interestingly, if the developers in question had been true polyglots, they would have had no trouble adapting to what the code base was already in order to add to it. Either a skill gap or a social dynamic, or both. So as a result, you get a lot of different parts of the code base that don't interface with each other very well. As a maintainer, your mastery of your tool set is stretched very thin. You have context switching, which is killing your productivity. You've got more knowledge silos, as they call it. The bus factor is more dire. So what do I think? Do I think everyone on the same team should write the same language all the time? Not quite, but mostly. There's a balance to strike here. You do want to encourage people to experiment, but if those experiments are going to significantly diverge the technical direction in, important parts of the code base, that extra mind share has to justify itself. The maintenance burden of supporting an extra language on any significant part of the code base is vast. That is a high burden of proof. So generally you want to have a way, just as with other parts of your coding standard, you want to be able to decide for the main stuff, however we define that, these are the couple of languages that we consider normal to use. These are going to have tooling and libraries and so on and so forth. By and large, we need to stick to that. On the tail end, the same thing goes though. If you've decided we're getting away from this particular language, you need to back that. You need to invest the time to actually get off it, to retire old languages, old systems, whatever it may be, and make room for new ideas. Now, you might well have lanes in which more experimentation is allowed and encouraged because the impact is lower. Often this includes internal apps. Doesn't really matter what you write those in a lot of the time. Another one might be prototypes. This isn't intended to become a long-term system. It's just to illustrate a point and inform the design of a later system. If you're feeling as I did when I started in the industry, gee, Lisp is so much better, I wish I were doing this in Lisp, that's when we should remind ourselves, you know, we should be polyglots here by understanding and embracing the ecosystem as it exists right now so we can properly care for it and manage its complexity and responsibly make room for the new ideas inevitably. If we work together, it's not my code or your code, it's all just our code. All right, hit the subscribe button and always remember what Lao Tzu said in the Tao Te Ching, with patience the most tangled cord may be undone. Thank you.